Alrighty, so today, before we actually get into any JavaScript, I just want to show y'all some tools that are available to you, how I like to use them and why. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one. So right here we have free code camp. Let me make sure nothing bad is open here. Cool, we're good. Awesome. All right, so here we have free code camp. And what I like to do is go to this JavaScript algorithms and data structures course. The reason why this is so good is because it really dials in on those fundamentals. You can go ahead and be like, how does a comment work? Um, let's see, multiply two numbers. So you get to see how math works in JavaScript. And you can just get a feel piece by piece on how this stuff works really well with this free code camp. So you should already have a free code camp account. All that you have to do is go into your basic JavaScript course. This is pretty good stuff. And then there's also like an ES6 course that's pretty good. I would say if you could get through those, you'd be very well off. That being said, I also want to make y'all aware of part of the learning process. I like to liken it to riding a bike. If you try to ride a bike and you read a book with very specific instructions how to ride a bike, you probably won't be able to ride a bike. And this is maybe where the downfall of free code camp is a lot of this stuff you're learning how to do one little piece at a time, and you don't necessarily have to bring them all together to do something. So the downside here is that you're probably not going to become a good programmer by doing these exercises. What you will get is a familiarity with the different tools, what they are, so that way when you encounter problems in the real world, you can have an idea of what's actually happening under the hood. So my advice would be run through this material, do a little bit of it each day, but be aware also that you can trick yourself into thinking you understand a lot of things. Uh, but for example, there's like 101 lessons here, and each lesson teaches you a new thing. If you're not applying those things, you're just going to forget it. So I guess my advice here is just be careful with free code camp, because the fact that you're getting all this information, it feels like you're learning a lot, but if you don't go and practice that, then you're not actually going to be able to use them. The next website I want to show you is, let's see, Code Wars. So Code Wars is kind of like the exact opposite. They don't really explain anything to you. And instead, you just have to figure out how to solve the problem, which is great. It's actually very good experience for just gaining the skills because, for example, this would be very similar to, let's go back to our bike analogy, hopping on a bike and doing some biking that's too hard for you, and you're going to fall, and you're going to learn when you fall. And that's kind of what's beautiful about this website. My recommendation would be, first of all, if you have trouble getting on, let's go ahead and walk through the sign up. I'm going to sign out. And now I'm going to sign in with my Higgs made the, oh, wait, let's see. Sign up if you don't have an account yet. We're going to sign up with JavaScript for right now. And now, okay, cool. So this is what I wanted to walk through because this part might be confusing if you don't actually know JavaScript. And we're going to go over this later, but I want y'all to get on this website. So I'm just going to kind of give you a cheat code here. So here they say this code does not execute properly. Try and figure it out why. Now, normally when I'm trying to teach you, I would not explain something this fast, but I just want to get y'all on this website. The reason why this does not work is because there's no return statement here. We could talk about that a little bit later when we get to functions, but this is the reason why this function does not work. If you didn't know that, this is their way of like, are you a robot? The problem is that I'm trying to get y'all on this site early, and that means you might not actually know how to solve this are you a robot problem. So that's totally okay. Here's the answer to that. Go ahead, hit submit, bada boom, bada bing, we're on. Cool. So this means we passed the test. This means you can sign up. That's how you're going to sign up for Code Wars. Now let me go ahead and I'm just going to sign in. And now instead of, let's see. Yeah, so now I'm just going to go ahead and walk you through what a coding challenge is like. So what you can do is you can click on this thing here called kata, and now you can choose your difficulty level. So believe it or not, 8 KYU is the easiest, 1 KYU is the hardest. I think I've done a 3 before is the highest I've ever done. But that being said, I'm not like spending all day on these problems. Like I don't care that much. But you'll find that as you progress, You know, like I remember a point where 6KYU would take me a whole day, and now 6KYU takes me about 15 minutes, depending on the 6KYU. Some of them are harder, 15 minutes to an hour, I would say, on those. Anyways, the point is that you start off easy, and because they're real problems, you're gonna have to Google things as you go, but more importantly, you're getting that practice in. So my challenge to all of you would be to, on this website, do at least one 8KYU problem a day, and I guarantee you will learn from it. Let's go ahead and give one. Let's give one a shot. This one says, how many lightsabers do you own? Accepts the name of a programmer and returns the number of lightsabers owned by that person. So another good part about this is it's going to get you a much better feel for what programming, what kinds of things you can actually do with programming, which I think is pretty cool. The only person who owns a lightsaber is Zach. He owns 18, which is an awesome number. Anyone else owns 0. Oh, okay. All right. So now what I need to do is let's take a look at the anatomy of what's going on here. So what we do is we write a function. Whatever this function returns is what it's going to test. So for example, here it says assert strict equal. Don't worry about that. But it's saying if we don't provide any arguments, in other words, if we call this function with nothing inside, then this thing should return 0. If we call this thing on Adam, it should return 0. If we call this thing on Zach, it should return 18. Because I guess for some reason, Zach owns 18 lightsabers and everybody else owns 0. Okay, Zach has a monopoly on the lightsabers currently. So what we can do is we can return. I'm going to kind of give you my way that I would solve this. I'm going to do this with if statements. I'm going to say if the name is Zach, then return 18. Else return 0. And I think that should pass. Let's see what happens if I just return 1 there. And let's see what happens if I return the wrong thing. Ah, cool. So now here they're saying, ah, shit, it expected 1 to equal 0. Here we expected 1 to equal 0. Here we expected 1 to equal 0. Okay, so this is what it's doing, is it's checking different cases to see if the function is returning what it wants. And since I have a 1 here and not a 0, it's messing up everything. Let's see if I got it right this time. Hey, look, we passed everything. There's my kata for the day. Now, that took me about 2 minutes. I think that probably would have taken me less, to be honest, if I was not doing it in front of y'all. But for y'all, if that took you 15 minutes, that's 15 minutes well spent. If that took you 20 minutes, that's 20 minutes well spent. Because guess what? You will probably, here's the kinds of things you will mess up when you're first learning this. I guarantee you some of you will switch whether or not these are curly braces or parentheses. I guarantee you some of you will not know how to format ifs and elses. I guarantee you some of y'all will forget return statements. I guarantee you some of y'all will misspell names and have this as capital N. These types of mistakes are the kinds of reasons why you do this all the time. Because what happens is you're slowly training your brain to be like, what things am I checking for right now? And the only way you get good at that skill is by practicing. And this is something that Code Wars is much better for than this stuff. But both super good resources. These are the 2 main resources I want y'all to use as far as just practice goes. That's all I got for today. Y'all have a splendid day.